But I will say this today, is that we are not going to give up in any way on Tarkwa. So in November last year, we submitted a lease extension for the Tarkwa mine, which would give us, at least for the initial term, another 20 years of mining at Tarkwa.
I have a feeling that the Goldfields mining lease may be renewed. There is a high likelihood that the Goldfields mining lease may be renewed, and that is all going to be thanks to tokenism. Yes, the normal word token, tokenism. For those who have never heard of tokenism, you may be thinking that I am making this word up. No. Tokenism is something that has been around and is used to control vulnerable people. And you can even call it a concept because experts have done studies about it. I am not an expert. I'm not a sociologist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just speaking from my layman point of view. There are different forms of tokenism, but I'm just talking about our case with regards to the Goldfields mining lease, and not only just Goldfields. Let's even talk about the multinational companies in our natural resource extractive sector. You can see now we are not hearing much from Goldfields itself. Of course, we have heard the CEO saying that they are lobbying authorities. Yes, we've heard that, but we are not hearing much from them. But we hear Ghanaians who are now speaking on behalf of these multinational companies and trying to make us feel like it is not an intelligent thing to do, it is not a good thing to do, to say that Ghana should either nationalize those companies or give them to, or give the mines or the extractive sector to Ghanaians who are capable of doing it. And of course, large-scale mining has been taking place in Ghana, or what is now called Ghana, for over 100 years. Tell me how that we can't have expertise in the area of gold mining. Maybe in the area of oil, maybe we do not have much over there now. But gold mining, there's some sort of blueprint for this tokenism that has worked so well for multinational companies. And they've used it on Ghanaians and even Africans. You hear something like, the multinationals are bringing their technology, they are bringing their expertise, their resources, they are bringing their machines and whatnot to come and extract. So they must get what they want. And the oil, the gold, and recently we talked about lithium would become useless if it remains in the ground and you cannot extract it. So the companies that are coming in should be able to get all what they want, because after all, your resources become valueless if they remain under the earth. And we've fallen for it. Unfortunately for us, there has been a law legalizing all this tokenism. We had this 5% royalties, which until recently they wanted to increase it to a greater percentage, and the tokenism worked very well to ensure that it didn't pass 10%. The video is long, but please watch to the end. Like the video, comment and share, and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. And one question is like, how did Saudi Arabia and other countries do it that we cannot do it? Then you have some Ghanaians coming to put the impression that our situation is different. And all that, you may think it's all normal. It's not. Tokenism has taken a toll on us. Thank God Ibrahim Mahama has taken over Daman. And we heard recently that Governor Dufour is also taking over as a Bogosu Christian. This particular issue of Goldfields is about to expire. And people are saying, nationalize or give it to a Ghanaian. It doesn't matter which particular group that the person belongs to, whether NPP or NDC, whatever, the person should be a Ghanaian. And we have Ghanaians saying that no, because we should rather be blaming our authorities. The authorities have not been using the royalties right. The companies have been paying taxes. The companies have been supporting students. The companies have been doing this and doing that. So because of that, we should allow them. Is it not embarrassing that after over 100 years of large-scale gold mining, we still have our communities looking the way they are? Look at how the majority of our mining areas are. And we just pride ourselves in the fact that we are number one in gold mining in the whole of Africa. and we are number 6 in the world. Isn't it a shame? But that is how tokenism is. There are different forms and different ways by which people use to control others. So this is how tokenism works. But before I get to that, South Africans watching videos like this may be thinking it is because of what is going on in South Africa. That is why Ghanaians are talking about authorities not renewing the lease of goldfields. But that is not the case. Ghanaians have been talking about owning and controlling our own natural resources for a long time now. It so happened that the expiration of the goldfields mining lease coincided with what is happening in South Africa. And some of them may be saying something like whether they renew the lease or they don't renew the lease, they don't really care because goldfields belong to just some few white people or something like that, all that blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that is no news. We are aware that when it comes to the natural resources of South Africa, all the black South Africans put together own close to nothing. So that is no news. This is how tokenism works. So a group of people want to control another group, but they want to make it such that they avoid criticism. So that people will not say that they are not doing the right thing or they are not doing what they are supposed to do or saying that they are not being inclusive or something like that. So what they normally do is that they pick representatives or they pick people from the vulnerable group. In our case, the vulnerable group we can say is Ghana or specifically the gold mining areas. Then they give them some sort of elevation. The elevation can come in different forms just by giving people money, you know, just cushioning them with some financial support. It can also come in the form of employment. You know, they pick some people to be miners and they pick some people, yeah, you know, to do some work in the mining companies. Elevation can also come in the form of education where they give scholarship or they build some 6 classroom blocks somewhere or something like that, or the corporate social responsibilities. So what that is meant to do is that when you say they are not doing something, they have an evidence to show that, oh, but we employed 40 of your youth, or we employed 1,000 of your youth. But a community is made up of more than that. And usually the employment is at the lower level. They can even decide to give more elevation by making some of them supervisors, making some of them managers. And what this is meant to do is to make the vulnerable group feel like, oh, they have included us. They are thinking of us. They are putting our people in leadership positions. They like us. That is why they are doing that. When in fact that is not the case, because when you go to the organizational structure, you see that the managerial level where they put the Ghanaians is not at the level where they make the real big decisions. The real big decisions are made at a much more higher level that is headed by certain people that do not belong to the vulnerable group. And it comes to a time that they sort of brainwash people they have elevated so much so that they become the spokespersons of they who are doing the tokenism. Just like what is happening in our case now. You have people from Takwa right now speaking on behalf of the mining companies that they did this or they did that or they did that for them. So because of that, government should allow the mining company to stay. When in fact there are people in Ghana here that can put money together and manage the mines. Tell me why people like Ken Ashigbe and others would be speaking for those companies instead of for Ghana. Then they say things like, you should blame your authorities for not using the royalties well. Blame your authorities. The mining companies are paying taxes. They are doing this, they are doing that. They have done corporate responsibility. They have done, and they have given scholarship. And you know how scholarship works. Not everybody can get the scholarship because you have to meet a certain criteria in order to get the scholarship. So you have people trying and waiting forever and never getting that scholarship. The tokenism is so deep rooted that I fear we will soon hear the lease has been renewed because the lobbying is not just math. Funds are pushed to people. And you know, some of these are people at leadership positions. They have certain responsibilities. Well, please like this video, comment and share, and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. And give me your comments.